eyes, yeah, I like this. And I've told you this quote before. I used it on my podcast the other day, but it's up on my refrigerator. It's been up there for like 30 years. It's from an old Supreme Court justice with a sort of bizarre name, Felix Frankfurter, but you can look him up. And he said that anybody who is any good is different from anybody else. And that's a truism over time.
Right.
Those who stand out, they're just different.
Yes.
Because they dare to be themselves. And he is daring to be different.
Right.
Okay, do I endorse the double bird? Okay, I got it. It's a bad look for a league that cares about his image almost as much as the NFL cares about it.
Yes, this is a big game. This is a national televised game. This was their statement game.
Okay.
On ABC, if I'm not mistaken, ABC at 3:30. So that's a big game.
It was a statement game. And I do not, I have to draw my lines for Kyrie. He even said after the game, I'm even going to look you in the eye if you say one of those words to me, and I'm going to see if you're about that.
Right.
Well, that means you're ready to go right here. Let's throw down, let's go.
Right.
If it comes to fisticuffs, it comes to fisticuffs. The last time we saw that was the Malice in the Palace featuring our man Steven Jackson, obviously Ron Artest, Meta World Peace. And it went completely wrong, right? And they were gone. Artest was gone for what?
He missed the rest of the year. I think he missed like 50, 60.
Yeah, because it was early in the game. I mean, in the year. It was early, like in November. Okay, so obviously I don't want to see Kyrie engage in fisticuffs with anybody because it would just be wrong. And I think he knows it would be wrong. He just wants all of them in the front row, second row, to know, I'm not backing down from this. And the oldest cliche in sports is about rabbit ears. Go back to the great Jackie Robinson. You cannot have rabbit ears. You cannot hear it. Don't let it even go in your psyche, because if you let it go in, they win. Right? If you're distracted by it, they win. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you.
Well, Jackie was hearing something from the players that was actually on the field. I was seeing they auctioning off one of his caps, Skip, and he had iron inside the cap because people were trying to beat him in the head. So he wanted the iron. He had the iron stitched in his cap. So if they hit him in the head, it would hit the iron instead of just hitting his pure skull.
Okay, so I'm sure he heard about as much verbal abuse as anybody's ever heard. And Branch Rickey told him, you cannot retaliate.
Correct.
You cannot respond. Your strength is in not responding. Right?
Skip, the man that he became, because remember, Skip, he no longer stood for the national anthem. He no longer sang the national anthem. Had he had that stance in the beginning, Skip, I don't know if the black players, blacks and minorities would have got an opportunity as soon as they did.
I would
Because they'd have said, nah,
Okay. All right.
We can't.
Okay. But things have changed enough.
Yes.
That Kyrie, we came full circle to a place just after Black Lives Matter in which Kyrie is saying, wait a second, I deserve to go back. Like they can't get away with that just because they buy a ticket. I'm a man too. They can't insult me and get away with it. And so for the first time ever, I saw a player just turn around and say, no, or back to him, go double bird behind the head. And I just think, knowing him the way we do, I'm not sure he's going to back off or back down tonight, because he's going to hear more of it tonight than he did the other day.
I mean, whatever he thought Sunday was, he needs to magnify that by 2 to 3. And then that's what he's going to get tonight, knowing, because the Celtics fans, they know what's at stake. They get an opportunity to take a 2-0 lead. You don't want to have a 1-1 lead going on the road for 2 straight games, Skip, knowing how well Kyrie has played, especially if he has a big game. They're try to get him out of his game early. You know KD, we're going to talk about KD a little later. He's probably looking to have, he's probably going to have a bounce-back ball game. But, Skip, I just don't think Kyrie can let the emotions, and I understand that, man, hold on. This ain't no trash talking. This is different. This is not calling me fat. This is not about talking about my talent. You're going to talk about my manhood. You're talking about the very existence of who I am.
That is correct.
So he's like, hold on, bro, wait a minute, bro. This is getting out of hand. NBA, y'all need to do something about this.
What I'm saying is, I'm not sure Commissioner Silver could escalate to suspension at this point, because he knows that a whole lot of his players are on Kyrie's side here. Because this isn't about just misbehaving. This is about standing up for you as a man, and in another way, as a black man standing up.
But I think the thing is, Skip, and every league always says, their players are held to the highest standard. And we want our players to be the highest level of professionalism at all times. And I believe that's going to carry over with Kyrie. I don't believe he'll react in the manner in which he reacted on Sunday. I just think there'll be some stares, especially if he hits a shot. He's going to look at, somebody's going to say something. And it's going to start early and it's going to start often. Probably when he comes out for warm-up. So he probably come on out there with that sage, Kyrie, get the demons out there.
Durant said yesterday, sometimes it's just a matter of mood, and I think he knows better than anyone. Kyrie can be very moody.
Yes.
That's what sort of split up the Cavaliers after the championship. He just got moodier and moodier, according to many sources inside those Cavs,
We'd go weeks
to the point that he was non-communicative and a little bit sort of withdrawn and sullen and difficult to, as you say, communicate with.
Right.
Okay? So Kevin's saying, well, it might depend on his mood. Well, I don't know. This will be one where they're going to snap him right out of whatever mood he is in, which brings us to the final question here. Who wins game 2?
I'm going Boston. I just think Boston is a better team. While like I said, we're going to talk about KD, I think Jaylen Brown plays better. I think they're going to have the same opportunity with shots in the paint, the restricted area. I think they capitalize on some of those. Skip, you get 50 shots in the paint. You're not going to shoot the bad percentage that the Boston Celtics shot. I think the Celtics win. I think it'll be a close ball game, but I don't think it's going to come down to the wire like this last ball game. I can see the Celtics winning by, say, somewhere between 4 and 6 points.
Okay. The Nets should have won game 1. I thought they were in commanding positions 2 or 3 times down the stretch to close the door and the deal.
Right.
They had shots. Dragic had a 3 that could have put them up 8.
Right.
KD had a 3 that could have put them up 7. They missed those shots. I don't think they'll miss them if they're in that position this time.
You expect Dragic to go 6 of 6 from the field before he misses his first shot?
I think I'm expecting big games from everybody. Patty Mills, Seth Curry, and especially those two. We're also going to talk later about a contention of one Tracy McGrady on your podcast, that this is the most dynamic duo in the history of this league. LeBron concurred, even greater than he and D-Wade. D-Wade concurred through Twitter. So we know who they are, but it's who I said they were from the start. I've made that contention on the show from the start. And I told you I'm picking the Nets in this series simply because of those two. I just think those two as a duo are better than anything else Boston can muster. I think Boston played a very good game while the Nets didn't play their A game. And the Nets down the stretch said, we can just outscore you. And they couldn't because they allowed some of the
layup after layup.
By the way, can I just remind everybody very quickly what it looked like down the stretch?
Here, layup line, that's what it looked like.
Here are the last 5 baskets by the Boston Celtics. And you can't do this. If this happens tonight, then once again, this will be another big L. But look at this. Blow by on Kyrie, okay? You can't, these are all late baskets. The last 2.5, 3 minutes, Jason Tatum gets, okay, here we go again. And will somebody stop ball? Will somebody stop ball? And then Horford gets an easy putback. Just stop ball. Somebody?
There's that defensive stopper by Bruce Brown.
Yeah, Bruce Brown got knocked out of the lane, and then here we go again.
2 guys
and
flew.
that's it. And to me, KD was at fault because that was his man initially, and he just got caught looking. And then Kyrie, at some point, if you're that smart with that basketball IQ that you have on the offensive end, you just have to grab him. You just have to grab him and fling him as best you can and do what Klay Thompson did to George Hill. Game 1, Oracle 2018, put him on the free throw line. Make him make 2 free throws.
What's the motto in playoff basketball? No layups.
Yeah. No layups.
No layups.
And certainly no dunks. So that was always the Spurs' philosophy against LeBron. Just don't let him dunk.
But you guys are at a decided disadvantage. Seth Curry, he's not a defensive guy. Kyrie Irving is not a defensive guy. Patty Mills is not a defensive guy. Got Gordon Dragic. They're not defensive guys. Get with damn. Kyrie. So who's going to play defense?
Kevin Durant will rise and shine tonight. I wish we could have a LaMarcus Aldridge sighting just once because he can really run.
But I've been told you, he was like the laundry. He washed. Blake Griffin, you want Blake Griffin. Yeah. He washed. Remember how he was chirping last year?
Yep. I think LaMarcus has got a hip injury that's career-threatening. I don't know what it is.
Skip, the man 42. He older than LeBron.
42.
He's older than LeBron?
Yeah, he's a little older, I think, but not much.
I don't think he's older than LeBron.
I got Nets tonight in Game 2, and with the points, obviously.
No. Why you? Hold on. You just tell me you got the most dynamic duo in the history of the game, and you want points?
And you told me Boston's just better than the Nets, right?
They are.
At home,
the team
with that crowd.
Better.
Wow.
I give you 2.5.
2.5? Okay, done. I'll take.
Got it. See what I did? See, I do. I got to point out what the line was.
Gentlemen, we will find out starting at 7 o'clock. That's when that game tips, and I don't think anybody expects KD to have that 27% shooting performance tonight. It'll be fun to watch. Much more NBA playoff action to come. We're breaking everything down. Like, is the Hawks' Trae Young having a playoff run to forget so far?
Yeah.
Plus, did Ja Morant's huge night put the Grizzlies as the team to beat in the West? Stick around. All that's next.